everyone. My name is Em, and I'm back. If you didn't see my last video, I was recovering from oral surgery, so my husband stepped in for me, so thank you so much to him for doing that. And if you haven't been here before, this is my series where I am watching every single Disney animated movie in chronological release order and ranking them on a tier list, and then providing some historical context for the movie. Before the review. So today's video is Melody Time, and Melody Time was released on May 27th, 1948. I tried to find where it premiered. I could not find a premiere city for this. If anybody knows, please pop it in the comments. And the song Blue Shadows on the Trail was voted as one of the top 100 Western songs of all time by the Western Writers of America, which is really cool. And it is a good song. I think it's a classic Western song. A lot of people are going to fight me on this. I'm not a country music person. But, old country, Blue Shadows on the Trail, oh my gosh, that gives me chills. I love that kind of country. Modern pop country, I kind of can't stand. To me, and I hate to say this, they all kind of sound the same to me. Or at least, and there's a lot of things with genres like this where a lot of singers sound the same to me. But that's kind of a genre thing. I've never been fully into country, and that's okay. It's just not for me. I understand that other people really love it, and that's okay. For me, did not grow up in a place where country was a very big thing, and I did not grow up in a family where country was a very big thing. I don't like country that much, but to each their own. That's a long tangent. I'm so sorry. And in late 1947, Disney announced the films Melody Time and Two Fabulous Characters, which was later renamed to The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and said that they would be released in August of 1948 and 1949. So Melody Time actually premiered early. As I said, premiered in May, and then I believe that The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad premiered later, kind of closer to Halloween time. So, this film, or at least in my opinion, this film is considered to be the last true anthology movie released by Disney. So, by anthology movie, I mean multiple segments. I know that technically the two segmented movies are technically anthology films. I kind of consider them double features instead of anthologies. People consider Winnie the Pooh an anthology film. I don't consider Pooh an anthology film because to me, an anthology film is unrelated segments with unrelated characters. They're standalone is what an anthology film is to me. So maybe Pooh is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the 1977 version. I believe I got that year right. I think that Pooh, I kind of consider it differently because it's the characters are the same despite the fact that they are different kind of vignettes. I feel like for Melody Time or Make Mine Music or even Fantasia, those are different segmented moments, or even kind of Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros. They're loosely, connected, but not fully connected. Anyway, so it is considered to be the last anthology movie released by Disney. I consider it to be the last anthology movie, at least in this era, because right after this we have Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and then we have Cinderella. So, and then we get into that whole Silver Age, and I'm so excited to talk about that. Anyway, so Melody Time was the last Disney film that the Andrews sisters were a part of. I didn't talk about this in my thoughts. If I had to pin, because the Andrews Sisters had a song in Make Mine Music. If I had to talk about it and I had to put like an opinion out there, the Andrews Sisters song in Make Mine Music is better. I love the Andrews Sisters. I love, oh my gosh, as a future choir teacher, I love groups like that. The Ronettes, the Beach Boys, whatever. Andrews Sisters, whatever. Anything that has just banging harmonies, I'm there. So I love the Andrews Sisters. However, I felt that Little Toot, and I think I talked about this, so Little Toot just was not as good as I felt like it should be. But I think my husband and I talk about that more in our review. Anyway, so Maxine Andrew is quoted as saying, "It was very exciting to work with Disney. He was such a gentleman." I don't know why I put this in, but it's in there. Anyway, in this film, we see the return of Bobby Driscoll and Luana Patton, who had starred previously in Song of the South, which was a few videos ago, and So Dear to My Heart. So I had So Dear to My Heart on my list to do, and then I ultimately decided not to do it because I thought it would have been like Song of the South, and I've actually never seen So Dear to My Heart, mainly because it's not on Disney Plus, and I don't think it's that popular. So maybe if I do something where it's like, maybe I'll do a few videos of movies that are technically on the Wikipedia list that did not make it into my tier list. And the film was the last film to feature Donald Duck and Jose Carioca until Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1988. So, actually, the last true film. So, I have to think and rack my brain. Because, yes, you could say, no, that was later. Because I was going to say, like the, a lot of things, like Donald had a presence in movies a little bit later, but I had to think, and I was like, well, there's the Christmas Carol, Mickey's Christmas Carol special, but then I realized that's technically not a movie. So, and I think that actually was released in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, but that's not a full film. So I think that this is correct because I'm thinking the next film might be Once Upon a Christmas, and then it would be Once Upon a Christmas, or no, it would definitely be Once Upon a Christmas, because I think The Three Musketeers was the early 2000s, I'd love to say. Sorry, you're just coming with me on my thought process. Anyway, so this was one of the first, I believe this is one of the first Disney films to be released worldwide. So internationally, to Europe, whatever, after World War II. I don't remember if I said that about Fun and Fancy Free, but Fun and Fancy Free, I think technically was after the war, but I think this was enough after that this may have been one of the first Disney films to be released worldwide after World War II. And because of that, I feel like Disney's kind of finding their footing again and be like, okay, we were releasing to an international market now. We've been spending our pennies, saving our nickels, saving our dimes for our next feature film. You can kind of see at this moment that things are kind of starting to ramp up into the next feature film, which would be Cinderella 2 films later. And then Musicland was released in the 50s to fulfill the rest of Disney's contract with RKO Radio Pictures. It was made up of different segments from Melody Time and Make Mine Music. To this day, this film has been lost to time. So I believe I talked about this in my Make Mine Music video, but I could not remember what the title of the film was. And so I did some research. It's called Musicland. And I think it was released right after Peter Pan. I know that RKO kind of had a thing where they were, well, all of these older films were released under and in partnership with RKO Radio Pictures. And so Disney was contracted for all of these films under RKO Radio Pictures. And Disney kind of started, as they were finding their footing a little bit more, we're like, we want to pull out of this. And RKO was like, you have one more film to do. And they're like, okay, here's a bunch of segments that we've already made, and here you go, here's the movie. And I think that they didn't keep it, probably just most likely because all of it is just Melody Time and Make Mine Music, which they had already produced as separate films. And Melody Time would be released on Laserdisc and then not released on VHS until its 50th anniversary in 1998, which was odd as many of the segments had been released on home video, but not the film in its entirety. So at the time, and my millennial and Gen Zers might remember this, Disney on their DVDs and VHSs would have these kind of, I don't know how to put it. They'd have these ones where it'd be different shorts from different moments and different cartoons from different kind of, and they kind of lump it all together on like a VHS under the same theme or a DVD. And so it would be like your wintertime ones, your holiday ones. And so Once Upon a Wintertime would be on there. And you'd have like your different ones and all these things. So you'd have your different segments and they'd be released on these different VHSs. But it was not released in its entirety until 1998. Melody Time, the full movie itself, which I think a lot of people found very interesting because Disney started making VHSs in the early 90s, I think. So and started releasing their old stuff, like if you remember the Disney Vault. Oh boy, the Disney Vault. And if you haven't seen Yesterworld's video on that, you should watch that because the guilt tripping that happened with the Disney Vault, I remember, oh my gosh, like every single Disney DVD that we had said Diamond Collection or whatever. It was like, said stuff like Gold Collection or blah, blah, blah Anniversary Edition. And it would have 2 discs of bonus features and whatever. It was very interesting that it took them a long time to release that VHS. Anyway, when the film was released on DVD, all smoking depictions were censored and edited out in America, but not in Europe. The Disney Plus version, however, does not edit these scenes out. They're back. I know that Disney with their DVDs edited quite a bit out. I think we've talked about this before. So like their older films, some stuff did genuinely get edited out for their releases, and then they got brought back for Disney Plus for a few of them. And Melody Time got mixed reviews. Actually, most negative reviews are retrospective. So these are people modernly going and talking about the film. So a lot of the reviews at the time are very, very good. And they praised Melody Time for its charm and for the human stories of Johnny Appleseed and Pecos Bill, as well as they were praised for capturing the same charm that Fantasia captures. As I stated, most negative reviews are retrospective, and they say that the segments do not work with the music, that the segments are not cohesive in tone. And the thing is, I don't agree. That's not the point of an anthology film, especially an anthology of film like this. And it's fine to not like the music from that era. I think that you are really stupid for not liking the music of that era. I love the music of that era. I think it's a bygone era. I'm an older music person. I like older music. So of course this is my cup of tea. I don't think And I don't like people for knocking things when they're just like, it's not my thing and I don't like it. Okay, well, because of that, you drive down and drag down reviews for people who might actually want the movie and want to watch the movie. But I don't know. I think that the world could just be a less negative place. And I think that we all could just take a little bit of some chill pills when it comes to things that we don't like and others liking things that we don't like. Like I just said, I don't really like country music that much. But that's okay. Like, I might make a little stink face when you play country because, I don't know, it's not my favorite thing. I don't like the modern twang. And honestly, I find most of it repetitive. And I find a lot of it doesn't really... A lot of it, I'm not meaning some of it. I know you can give me a wonderful, amazing country song, but I find a lot of it doesn't really have much to say, which I feel that way about a lot of pop songs modernly too. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes it's fine to just say, I don't like it, and that's okay. But that's the thing. Please don't let those of us that don't find that style boring enjoy this piece of Disney history. And that's one of the reasons why I started my channel, is so that this channel is for people who want to know the history, who want the historical context, to inform people on the historical context so they're not just like, duh, Snow White is stupid, it's boring, all of these old Disney movies are boring. No, they're not. They're boring to your modern eyes because you don't have... I don't know what you want. And that's the thing about people critiquing modern Disney's. I'm like, what do you want? What do you want from Disney right now? Because I agree, it's not the same. It's not the same right now. But you're not really stating what you want. You're just stating what you don't like. And what you're saying is, we don't like these new movies. But I feel like people are in an echo chamber right now. But I can get into modern Disney some other time. But that's the thing, is I personally think that you should... that I don't know. That just because something's old doesn't... and just because you don't get it doesn't mean that there's not beauty and artistry in it. I love opera. A lot of people do not like opera. But that's the thing, is if I gave you an opera plot, you would be like, oh my gosh, that's like a reality TV show. And I'm like, yeah, it's like a reality TV show. That's opera. And y'all would eat it up if I turned it into a drama TV show, a soap opera. And that's the thing, is I feel like sometimes there's too much of the, oh my gosh, it's so old, I won't like that. And my advice is, give it a chance. Just because it isn't 3D animated, and just because it's not fit for widescreen, doesn't mean that it's bad. And something else that you have to understand about some of these older films, like the films that we have done and covered since, I think it was Dumbo on, have been during the war and been on a shoestring budget. Trust me, once Disney gets a hold of a budget, honey, we're going to keep going. And I'm excited to keep going. But I don't think that these films are inherently bad. And this is such a long tangent about how historical context matters when you examine older works. Because we can't examine older things with our modern eyes. It won't work. Because so much is different, and so much can be different, and contexts can be different, then at the time, like, that's the thing is, and that's how I feel that things get misinterpreted. I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I have a lot of thoughts about history being twisted for our modern ideas, but this was such a long tangent, but an important tangent, I feel, and I'd love for this conversation to continue in the comments. To continue on, I just have a few things. Melody Time made $31.9 million at the box office when adjusted for inflation, and that's worldwide. And many of the segments were released separately after and gained more popularity than the movie, namely Bumble Boogie. I loved Bumble Boogie, and Little Toot. Pecos Bill is featured in Frontierland in Magic Kingdom at Disney World. He has a restaurant named after him, and it's Pecos Bill themed, and it's all Pecos Bill themed. And I'm guessing a lot of people go to Disney World being like, who is Pecos Bill? Who is Pecos Bill? And to that I say, if you've ever been to Disney World and you've wanted to know who Pecos Bill is, go watch Melody Time. There you go. And then apparently in the World of Disney store, and I don't know which one it is in, if it's the one at Disney Springs, the one at Downtown Disney, or both. But apparently Jose Carioca from Blame It on the Samba appears in a mural on the ceiling among many other characters. And then in a glass case behind the windows of the All-Star movies, there is a script for Melody Time. At the All-Star Music Resort in Disney World, there is a glass case that has the Melody Time script in it, apparently. And at Downtown Disney, that's the mural. The World of Disney is the mural. I'm not sure if that's true anymore. I hate to say, I know that from when I was a kid, I think that World of Disney has undergone a few renovations. Mainly the fact that they took away the really fun sign things. I miss them! Anyway, but that's that. And if you stick around, you'll get to hear my husband and I's review of Melody Time. And we also recently watched The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. So that video will be to follow, coming soon, I hope. Hi everyone, so we just finished Melody Time. This is one of the last anthology ones. This is the last, true anthology, not, double featurette ones, you know? So this is, the last one that's, yeah, Make Mine Music and Melody Time. So we then have, after this, we have The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. And then we are done with the kind of anthology pocket films.
At least the classic anthology style.
Mm-hmm. At least the classic anthology, as we kind of ease out of the war, you know, in the movies being created during the war. And we ease into the Silver Age of Disney. Anyway, so our thoughts. For me, I really like Melody Time. I don't know. What would you say? Is it better or worse than Make Mine Music?
I don't know if I would say it's better. I think it does have some of the stories are a little bit better. We're going to talk about it more, I presume, but the Johnny Appleseed one is really good. I liked it.
I feel that the story ones that they did in this one are better.
Yeah.
But the other segments are better. Oh, wait, no, I can't say that the story...
Even, I was going to say...
The story ones in this one are better because Willie is in Make Mine Music.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is, like, some of the story ones are better, but there's also some of them that aren't. I'm not sure if I was the biggest fan of Pecos Bill.
I thought Pecos Bill was good. Why didn't you like Pecos Bill?
It was just okay. I mean, maybe it's just because my brain didn't really like the ending. I thought the ending was kind of But the rest of it was all right. I did like how it's like a narrator, and they kind of did that thing with Make Mine Music, where it's like actual people telling a story. But, meh.
So, with this one, I also just like, other than... No, because some of the segments in it were good, just, like, not as good as Make Mine Music, in my opinion. Like, they were good, but I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Like, all of them were really great, and I don't know what it is about the Three Caballeros stuff. That segment dragged again, and I hate that stupid bird. I hate that stupid bird.
I liked that segment. I thought the bird was funny. He's just a little goofy guy. He's like the third and a half caballero. Not enough to be considered one, but he's kind of like an extra one in case one of them calls in sick. You know what? What's the name of the one from Mexico again? I forget his name.
Panchito.
Yeah, like what if like Panchito called in sick that day and they were like, well, good thing we got our backup friend who can help us. You know, it's that one friend in the friend group that everyone's kind of like about, but they invite him anyways whenever there's not enough people. Literally that.
And it was while I was watching this that I realized one of the GIFs that I used in my Three Caballeros video is from Melody Time and not from Three Caballeros. And so I sincerely apologize. I don't think anybody noticed. I didn't notice. So, sincerely apologize for that. I don't know. Loved the Johnny Appleseed one. And in fact, I think that's the best standout one.
At least of this set. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's what we were getting at. I would say of this set, it is probably like far and away the best one. That like could stand on its own as a story. I like the Three Caballeros one. I think I put that one a little bit higher in my opinion, but that's just because I like Donald Duck and his buddies are all fun. But if I'm pushing aside that bias, the Johnny Appleseed one is the best one of this set.
The one thing I will critique Melody Time for, because I did watch this for the first time like a few months ago, like this summer, and then now I'm rewatching it. It ends so abruptly. Like Pecos Bill just ends, and then it just ends. And it doesn't give you anything to be like, oh, this is the end of the movie.
Yeah, it would have been nice if maybe like this is kind of a weird thing, but in what's the Shakespeare one we watched with the
Shakespeare one.
The the Shakespeare play we watched, the one with the couple, and they're telling it because of the guy in the beginning of the movie. Which one is that one? And he's like kind of like a snob and a loser, and all the people come to like teach him a lesson about how to properly treat women and stuff.
Oh, The Taming of the Shrew.
That's right, Taming of the Shrew.
Okay, you said movie, and I was like, dog.
I meant to say play.
Sorry. I'm trying to figure out if you're talking about, because we've seen 2 Shakespeare plays. I've seen more. This summer we watched As You Like It, and last summer we watched The Taming of the Shrew. I was
saying, like the original version of Taming of the Shrew just like ends when the story ends. Like you don't get any closure to that, and it kind of feels almost akin to like, while they didn't do it to that extent, it felt pretty close to what they did with the cowboys and the cowgirl story, where it's like they all tell the story and they're like, wow, that's a cool story. The end.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, yeah. So for those who don't know, context for Taming of the Shrew, because a lot of companies drop this part. So at the beginning, there's this, I can't remember his name right now, and it makes me so mad. There's this drunk guy who is terrorizing the barmaid, and these people come in, and these like play people come in and are like, okay, you know what, let's teach this guy a lesson. And so they put on The Taming of the Shrew for this man. The funny thing is, Shakespeare just drops him. Like, he just does not come back after, like, the second act of Taming of the Shrew. And so our production, which now that I say this, I might be doxing myself a little bit, but that's okay. Our production had an ending where it didn't just end at the end of The Taming of the Shrew with the Kate and Petruchio story. It had him at the end. It did a little thing with him at the end. And I liked that, and I kind of understand what you're meaning with that, of how it is a little bit like,
it's over, let's all go home.
Anyway, so with Melody Time, I'm sorry, the thing with all these anthology films is they're all kind of seeping into my brain, you know? Like, I don't know which is which anymore. But because for some odd reason, my brain's like, talk about Bongo. No, Bongo was the last one. So with this one, one thing I really do love is I love the Jazzy Flight of the Bumblebee version. Ooh, I love the jazzy version of the Flight of the Bumblebee. I don't know. I don't remember if you caught that, babe, because you were making dinner at the time. So I don't know if you caught much of that. But oh my gosh, if you love like music, if you're a music lover like me and just kind of love like a little bit of like Fantasia kind of vibes, but like with like jazz, oh my gosh, that really provides it with this segment. And then, yeah, like the, I'm trying to see if I can touch on all of them, but it's kind of hard to remember. Little Toot. Oh, Little Toot. Such a disappointment, Little Toot. See, I love the Andrew sisters, but Little Toot just doesn't do it for me. You know? Like, Little Toot just doesn't do it for me as much as I feel like it should.
I think the story of Little Toot resolved too quickly. It makes me think of the one, what's the one where Joe is introduced in? Not Three Caballeros, the other one.
Saludos Amigos.
That's right. So, in Saludos Amigos, they have basically the exact same story with the airplane guy, right? But, like, I don't know. To me, I feel like the airplane one is better written and gives more time to, like, grow and show... Oh, I forgot his name. The airplane...
I think his name's Pablo.
Pablo sounds right. Like, I feel like Pablo is given a lot more time to grow and to develop as a person than Little Toot is. He just kind of has a change of heart, and then the plot just kind of accepts it and lets him do his thing.
Yeah, and the sad thing is I love the Andrew sisters, and their voices are so gorgeous, but it just doesn't add up. One thing I love is I love the song, the Blue Moon song. I think it's gorgeous. I'm not talking about Johnny Appleseed till he comes back and is done putting away dinner. But I love the interstitial scene. You want to know why I love the interstitial scene? And it's such a stupid reason. It's Bobby Driscoll's deadpan, is there a woman in this story? And I think it's so funny. Like, I don't normally rewind or pause or stop when we do this so that we can get, like, a raw reaction to things. I had to pause and rewind for that because I loved it. I love it. I think it's funny. And I just love how immediately gets shut down. He's like, no, she's, like, she's, like, one of the most important parts of the story. Anyway, but, like, I think that... Well, I mean, he didn't like the ending of that, and maybe he can talk about that in a bit. He didn't like the ending of that. I feel that I'm trying to think of all the segments here in Melody Time, and so if I forget talking about a segment, I am so very sorry. Oh, the one with the tree, the song about the tree and all that stuff. That was right after Johnny Appleseed. I thought it was good. Hey, babe, do you remember what short opened the movie?
Yeah, they had the one with the masks. At the stage.
Yeah, but that was like kind of like opening. What was the first short? I love Once Upon a Winter Time.
Yep, that's right.
I love Once Upon a Winter Time. It is one of my favorite ones. I think it's so cute. I think it's just fun. Yeah, and then after that is Flight of the Bumblebee. And then is the Johnny Appleseed. And then it's, which is a hefty portion of it. And then it's Little Toot. I thought it was the one about the tree and then Little Toot. But it's Little Toot. And then maybe that's why, and then it's the one about the tree. And then it's the samba, Blame It on the Samba. Hate That Stupid Bird. You want to know why I hate that stupid bird? Because it blows up the stupid piano at the end. Not the piano, the organ at the end. Makes me mad. Makes me sick.
Sick to your stomach?
Sick to my stomach. Anyway, let's, maybe that's why this feels so quick, because it's only an hour 15 instead of like an hour and a half or an hour 45, which is what we're normally used to as movies. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why these movies feel so quick.
I think they're a perfect length. I think if a movie wants to go to hour 30 or longer, it has to earn it.
Truly. Why is every movie 2 hours? We've talked about this, but why is every movie 2 hours now?
Exactly. Like, they don't need to be 2 hours, especially if, like, 30 minutes of that is just overview shots, like where there's no dialogue, no action or anything. They're just showing off the city or whatever. You don't need that. You don't need that.
My other problem with 2 hour movies is it's like, if it's an hour and a half, like, you know what, I can figure out, like, if I'm going to the movies, I don't have to pee during that. With 2 hour movies now, I am finding I am having to use the bathroom at some point in that movie.
Yeah. Maybe we should start going back to having intermissions in movies.
If they're gonna keep making movies 2.5 hours, yeah. Okay, so let's just go in order, because I just gave my opinions essentially for every single one in order. So how do you feel about Once Upon a Winter Time?
That one's cute. It's a cute little couple. They reminded me of us. They're very much like us. Both the rabbit couple and the normal couple. They're so cute.
He said in that moment when, like, she gets mad at him, he said, like, that's you when you get grumpy. And I couldn't defend it, because that is me when I get grumpy.
And then the part where they're, like, all frozen and cold, and then the girls give them a kiss, and they get warmed up instantly.
This is actually, that's actually, I think it's one of my favorite Disney shorts of, like, all time. I think it's just great. I think the song is great. I can't believe I forgot about it, but yes, and I think it stands against Melody Time as a short. I think the first time I watched it as a short is an edited version, I think, so it will come back, because I think it's in Snowden at the House of Mouse.
I don't know that. Why did you point the mic to me? I've never seen it.
I don't know. I wanted you to continue. Okay, you didn't get to see much of Flight of the Bumblebee.
Yeah, I was cooking.
He was cooking. Anyway.
I saw the keyboard snake. The keyboard snake was cool. That was it.
The keyboard snake is really cool. And then after that, we finally get to talk about Johnny Appleseed. So what are your thoughts about Johnny Appleseed? Because I feel like you have more, we agree, and I feel like you have more thoughts than I do.
So the first part, like 10 seconds into the film, my brain goes, they could not make this in today's time. And because they show a Bible and they call it, the Holy Book, and they go into, like, even before everything kicks off, they really nail in Johnny is faithful. He uses his faith to give him courage, etc. He has a guardian angel who shows and intervenes and goes like, hey, you could do a lot of good in the world if you just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and go. And kind of really hammers in that idea of, like, just have faith in God and he'll point you in the right direction. Which, like, I was like, we talking about the same company? 80-something years later? Still same company? Because I don't feel like they could do something like that where a character's faith, Christian or not, but especially Christian in this context, would have their faith have that much of an impact on the way that they think and the world around them. I mean, it makes me imagine if, like, just throwing a random example, it'd be almost if, like, in Up, the entire time, a guardian angel was helping him a way through a la Dante's Inferno style, and kind of pointed him in the right direction and stuff, which would be really, really foreign to modern Disney writing. So it was just something really interesting seeing that, like, Disney had done stories like that before, and the idea of not just using it for comedic effect or something, but just, like, that's part of his character. That's part of his personality. His faithfulness is just Johnny. And that's part of why he does the things he does, why he's kind to the animals, why he's, kind to helping all the pioneers as they come westward, etc.
Well, Walt was a Christian man. And I do want to state that, is Walt was a Christian man. And so because of that, I think that we got this. And I don't have a problem necessarily with that at all. I think that it's very interesting, but to match what you said, there actually is a Pixar character that has a pretty hefty thing with prayer in the new newish Pixar series called Win or Lose. But I agree with you. I don't think that they could do it in a major motion picture anymore.
Well, but now I've not seen Win or Lose, so I'm not going to pretend that, like, I know the specifics of it. But I feel like sometimes a lot of more modern depictions of a character like that, it's usually more of, like, a secondary trait, almost to, like, tokenize. I think it's different because it's not coming from a genuine place, if that makes sense.
It's performative. It's at times it just feels performative, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I feel like when modern writing depicts a religious character, it is for one of two reasons. Either reason A, they're trying to depict the character being completely unreasonable, and they're trying to depict the character as, like, oh, well, religion isn't the only lens to look at. Or it's the complete opposite, where the religion is kind of just like a secondary trait that only really exists so that they could have a religious character in it. Mm-hmm. And for the sake of having a diverse cast or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely, I'm going to not disagree with you. I don't think it's from everybody, but I think that executives specifically are seeking that out. I don't think the creators themselves are coming from that place, but I think executives themselves are seeking that out.
And like I said, that's not inherently wrong if it's treated properly. Mm-hmm. It's just quite often it's not treated properly, and it becomes a little obvious to tell. And so it was just really refreshing to see a character like Johnny where, like, his religion was not only just, like, part of the plot, but also just, like, a driving force in him as a character without it feeling, like, weird and disjointed and almost, like, separate from him as a person.
I agree. And I think that these traits shouldn't, like, overall, just in general, these traits that we've talked about should not be used to tokenize a character. I think they should be used to create and develop a character. Like, if that's what the character is, create the character around that at times, have it be a part of who they are, as if they are a real person and not just a plywood flat that you called gay or something like that. Yeah. I'm not going to say that, like, I don't have a problem with representation. I think representation is great. I just think that we're not doing great things for representation, because people will say, oh, it's not great representation, but it's representation. I just don't think at this point in time that's a good enough excuse with how many positive representations we have in media.
Well, I was gonna say, like, yeah, dog, have a more positive ideal for your identity. You know, a lot of these people who feel that way, it's usually towards their own identity. And so it's like, no, it's okay to have standards and say this is a bad interpretation of me and my identity or my culture or whatnot, etc. Like, it's okay to object to that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's also okay to completely applaud it where it's done well. And I think Johnny's a great example of that.
I think it's a very good representation of a Christian. And I agree with you, just in the age of, like, where a lot of things are taken as tokens and a lot of traits are kind of tokenized, I feel like it's hard to create an authentic Christian character now, just because I feel that some people would get mad and then other people would, I don't know, I just feel like because of the tokenism in media right now, it just sparks more fights and debates.
Maybe what you're looking for is a character like that would be divisive. Like, Disney could not produce Johnny Appleseed in today's time, even though there's nothing really wrong with it. I mean, it does depict some natives, but it's not really in a harmful way. They're just part of with the pioneers, hanging around with them during their celebration.
If anything, that's very positive representation.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Pecos Bill undoes that positive representation.
Yes, they undo that. They were so close. They were like
at a top notch, and then like maybe like half an hour later they just go back down to net zero.
But we can just chalk that up to there being different writers. Because there probably were.
There probably were. Yeah, anyway. What comes after?
Is it the tree one?
Little Toot. We already talked about Little Toot. Do you have anything else to say about Little Toot?
Nah, it was mid. If you wanted like the same plot but done better, I like the one of Pablo and Saludos Amigos.
But the Andrews sisters. Okay, the other one is the tree one. I think the tree one's really pretty, and it's a really pretty song.
So that was another one. Now, I know for this, it was already a pre-made poem.
Mm-hmm. It was also already a pre-made song, I think.
So, yes. So it wasn't exactly, like, fully intentional, at least to the extent that Johnny Appleseed was. But I did think it was very interesting of how much they highlighted, like, the beauty of God's creation and stuff. Like I said, that goes back to what I talked about earlier of this would not exist in modern Disney. They would never ever, they wouldn't even consider the poem. Even if it was pre-made, the song was pre-made, everything was handed to them on a silver, heck, animation pre-made, and it was handed to them on a silver platter, Disney would still not do it. And I think it's just because messaging and writing like that can still be divisive today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we already talked about the Blame It on the Sun, but I love the song. I just think the segment goes on a little too long.
I like the segment. I thought it was perfect. It's everything I want with my Donald Duck stories.
I thought you also said that it dragged.
No, I mean, a smidgen maybe. But I think I'd maybe only trim out 20 seconds tops. Any further than that, I'm like...
Yeah, I kind of agree. That's why I say, like, it kind of drags, meaning, like, it just drags a little bit too long. Yeah. Your eyes glaze over for, like, a little bit, you know?
I did not have that, but that's because I like Donald and I like Joe.
Jose.
Well, Joe is also his name. He goes by both.
No, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. They call him both. We'll prove it after the recording.
And then we have, I think after that, it's Pecos Bill.
Is it?
Yeah. Dude, Pecos Bill is a lot of this movie.
Yeah. And it's good. I think it's got a few little flops, and like I said, it just kind of ends. I think that's my biggest objection to it. Oh, but then there was also before oh wait, no, that was part of Pecos Bill. Never mind. was the trail song, but that's
the trail song. We can act like that's different though.
Yeah, and I thought that was good. That was pretty, very good song. They did a good job.
Yeah, I like that. I just like that sound. Oh my gosh, it makes me. I like it. Anyway, the one thing I would say is I love the interstitials. I love that Disney was continuing to do the little painting motif thing where they like paint it on and like they're
where they're like painting on the different I follow.
Yeah. Where they're painting on the different things. I thought it was I still love that. I'm so glad that is carried over from Aquara do Brazil because it's like one of my favorite things that they do.
That's a good one. I liked it too.
And I think that's really all I have to say about it. Is there anything you want to have to say?
Blue shadows on the trail. What do you think? Was that good?
It kind of petered out at the end. I promise I've tried to teach him how to sing. He just doesn't.
I just sing different.
No, he just sing bad.
Well, I love you too, my love.
Babe, you gotta have your thyroid cartilage better because it helps raise and lower pitch.
Means. You're using big people words.
It just had a test on the muscles of the larynx.
Anywho, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking around and supporting me. It means a lot. And I recently had my Dumbo video reach about 500 views. And that's incredible, especially for someone small like me. So yeah, if you enjoy this content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, watch my other videos, comment, engage in any way, shape, or form. It's really appreciated, and it creates a really great community here, and I enjoy talking to everyone and commenting the comments and all these things, and yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have a good rest of your day and everything. So thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.